Welcome back to the Crypto Power Hour, the #1 crypto show on Rumble. I never get tired of saying that. Powered by Solum Global, of course, with your hosts, the founders of Solum Global. Today, we're joined by Sebastian Sorrell Watts, one of the co-founders, and of course, Antonia Moss, the crypto queen, and the crypto bros, myself, Lance Miliaccio, and George Balloutine. This is your ultimate deep dive into everything crypto, blockchain, and decentralized finance. Whether you're a seasoned investor or just stepping into the world of digital assets for the first time, we bring you expert insights, top interviews, exciting new programs, projects, breaking news, and game-changing innovations shaping the future of digital assets. There's no hype on this show, no fluff, just real talk like our other shows on Rumble. We're going to bring you all the opportunities in the world of crypto because on this show, in crypto, we trust. The team's back in the saddle. Antonia Moss still in the UK, coming all the way in. I noticed we've got 2 Brits on the show today. I was warning them that George and I will go 1776 on them if necessary. At the end of the day, Antonia. Yeah, go ahead, George.
That's a warning shot.
Exactly. Antonia Moss, how is the UK weather today? Is it sunny, not sunny, cloudy? What do you got going there? Because your weather is not, I'm not a fan of your weather. Maybe today you're going to surprise me.
You know what? I'm actually, I can't believe it. It's been sunny for quite a while now.
Wow.
But I've been spoiled by the Florida weather. So I'm like, oh, the sun's out, but I'm not hot enough. So I've become a brat. But it has been a nice day, yeah.
Incredible. I'm shocked. Are you sure you're still in the UK?
I am in the UK. I've also weather watched. It goes bad in a couple of days and I'll be right back over there. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sebastian, how are you, man? Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. You know, Kirk wasn't available. Things are super busy over at Solum Global. How are you doing? But you're down in Florida, so you're not worried about that UK weather, are you?
I'm all good with the weather here. Last time I was in England, it was very, very cold.
So basically you're saying Lance, Antonia, and myself are the ones suffering. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here in Colorado. It's the weather's okay. It's, you know, it hasn't been super cold by any means, but I'm ready for the spring. They gave us a couple of days in the 70s and 80s over here, and I got spoiled just for a few minutes, and then all of a sudden they dropped it back down. We got some rain and some snow. One of these days I'll get my butt out of Colorado. I keep talking about it. It's hard to do it once you get your roots here and you get anchored in place. George B, how's the knee, bro? You see how that rhymed? George B, how's the knee? I hate to do that.
It's good. I mean, the weather, it's cold, it's rainy, so that doesn't help with the weather here. We went from like one day of 70 now to like 40s. It's ridiculous, but I was just reminiscing about my 30 days or 45 days in Florida, the weather. And
yeah, except you were working your butts off building out the studio.
Yeah,
so,
but the weather was nice.
Yeah, it was nice. The weather was nice. I was only there for what, 8 days or so, but I really enjoyed myself. Huh? Of course, the last time I was there wasn't it 8 days? I was there 7 days.
Yeah,
no.
You weren't even.
Seems like it was 7 or 8 days. You sure?
Yeah, positive.
I don't know. I was down there for the trip to Mar-a-Lago also. That was great. Enjoyed that. All right. So if you're joining us for the first time, I'm happy you're here. Thanks for joining us. Your time is your most valuable commodity. So if you like the show, give us a thumbs up, comment, share, subscribe. If you can't do the paid subscription, we know it's a tough economy. Do the free subscription. But if you can do the paid, it's $5 a month. It's no big deal. It's great if you can do that because it supports the show. And of course, if you like what we have to say, you can always rumble, rant, tip us during the show. All that money goes back into the show and producing it. These shows do have lots of costs, especially when you're an independent journalist like we are. And of course, you know, on this show, education is a priority. We're trying to get you, you know, up to speed. There's so many words, so many terminologies, so many companies. It's confusing. It's confusing even for us sometimes. There's new companies coming out constantly, whether they're AI companies that are involved in the crypto world or otherwise. The last show, if you didn't catch it, was a great opportunity to learn about all the different coins. The blue chip coins, altcoins, meme coins, AI coins, you know, any kind of the tokens, stable coins. We covered it all. So if you really want to get bare bones, these education segments are not to be missed. And Antonia last week wasn't available, so we knocked it out ourselves. Today she is, and we're ready to dig in. She's got a lot of stuff that she wants to share with you today. So let's take a few minutes and give her the chance to cover all that matters in this vertical.
Thanks so much, Lance. And we're back in my favorite segment, which is the education piece. So we've started, you know, we've built the groundwork of what crypto is. On the previous show, which I wasn't on, we went into different coins, which was really interesting. So please watch that back if you haven't already. And now today, we're going to go into how value actually moves in crypto. So this is where we get into the mechanisms, platforms, and tools that give crypto real utility. So a few things we're going to unpack today. Firstly, tokenomics. So this is how tokens are designed and what gives them value. Then we'll move on to exchanges. So we have mentioned this a fair amount in the Crypto Power Hour, but we're going to deep dive a bit more between centralized versus decentralized exchanges. And then we'll go into the world of staking, yield farming, and NFTs. And on the NFTs piece, we'll include their non-art use cases. I know when I first heard about NFTs, I just thought it was that. So it'll be interesting to go a bit further into that. And yeah, it's also important to note that stable coins are a really important part of how value moves in crypto. But because we've spoken about them a lot on this show so far, we'll leave that deep dive to a later session where we can go full on in depth after we've covered the other basics. So starting with tokenomics, this is how tokens are designed. So very simply, tokenomics is short for token economics or economics, depending on your accent. And this is really the study of how a crypto token is designed to function within its ecosystem. So this includes its supply, distribution, incentives, and utility. So tokens differ. So some are deflationary, like Bitcoin. And that's because, there'll only ever be 21 million of them. This scarcity creates value over time. Others, on the other hand, are inflationary, and that means that new tokens are constantly being created. So this is common in ecosystems where tokens are used for governance or rewards. The design of a token really does influence how people interact with that token. Do they hold it, spend it, stake it, or what do they really use it for? And fundamentally, understanding tokenomics helps you evaluate whether a token is built for long-term value or for short-term hype. So, a few questions to my co-hosts. So, Sebastian, over to you because you're new to the Power Hour. So, have you explored different tokens and have you understood, or when was that point that you realized they weren't all designed the same? Like they weren't all necessarily designed to function like money, let's say?
Well, firstly, the first thing I obviously came across was Bitcoin, and then other types of tokens came in, like NFTs, and associated with art that became very big, and then utility tokens like a way of paying for a service or an item, which is stablecoin. And there's also then security tokens and governance tokens. So I think as far as NFTs, they've got a long way to come as far as their use. I think they have major benefits that you can fractionalize and you can do other things with them. I think there are going to be other tokens like security tokens for real estate. I think is going to become very, very big. And I think it will happen. Anyway, that's how.
Yeah. No, it'd be super interesting to see how, for everything, like you say, with real estate and tokens, I really agree with you. That will be deployed into so many different industries, we know. Lance, over to you. Do you think that tokenomic strategies are important, or, the kind of token comes first and then the strategy is built around? Like, what are your kind of thoughts generally on tokenomics?
I think it's everything. I don't care how good the tech is. If the tokenomics are trash and the project's dead on arrival, and we've seen that happen over and over again. I've seen too many of those hyped up launches, where the founders dump their tokens, the rug pulls, or there's no real utility baked into the model. I'm not a big supporter of meme coins. I understand people have made lots of money in them but they really don't add to the blockchain. I always refer to the blockchain in my own head, and I say, does the blockchain need this project, or does the project need the blockchain? That's the first step I always take when I'm looking at a coin. I think when a project has smart supply control, real user incentives, staking options, and a plan for even longevity, that they're not some short-term, fly-by-night program. That's when you see it thrive. That's when it's there and it's something that the blockchain really needs and it can stay. So I don't think tokenomics is for, in my case, I don't believe it's the cherry, on top of the cake. I think it's the foundation. If you don't have good tokenomics, and if that foundation's cracked or damaged to begin with in a coin, the whole thing's just going to come tumbling down.
Yeah, it's like built on shaky foundations, I guess. So it's even if you see some hype, it then fades away. Interesting. And George, like, do you see, is there any token model that stood out to you kind of on this topic before we move on to our next?
That's a good one. You know what? Yeah, Helium's. Helium's like, they had their original model that really, like, to me, stood out. The way they used to hint to rewards, to reward users, like for setting up and running wireless infrastructure was really next level. It wasn't just about like staking or holding. It was about contributing real world value, like building a network from scratch and getting paid in proportion to your output. So like, it made sense to me. People were literally bootstrapping a decentralized network by running hardware. The token, it created alignment between early adapters, the users, and the protocol. So to me, that's real incentive design.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, thanks, guys, for that. That was very interesting. I think our audience will appreciate. So on to our next subsection of how value moves in crypto. So we've spoken a fair amount about exchanges, so centralized, decentralized. But just to kind of clarify this a little bit further, I think could be useful. So, and also we see that exchanges are obviously where most people first interact with crypto. So there's two main types we've mentioned before: centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges. So the centralized exchanges like Coinbase, Binance, these guys act as intermediaries. They hold your funds, they match buyers and sellers, they offer customer support. So they really hold your hand through the process. So they're very user-friendly, but in, what you pay for that is you don't hold your private keys, so you have less control. And then decentralized exchanges, which probably will take over time as people become more literate about the crypto world. The examples of these are like Uniswap, SushiSwap, if you've ever heard of those but didn't really know what they referred to. That lets users trade peer-to-peer. So that means there's no company in the middle. You hold your wallet and trades happen directly on chain. Both have pros and cons. Centralized are convenient, but you don't have full control. Decentralized are more aligned with the principles of decentralization, which is fundamentally what, crypto came to facilitate. So I guess, Sebastian, over to you as well. As we've mentioned previously and just in this, decentralized exchanges make more sense because they give the user more power and control, but they're less easy to use and understand. So I guess, what do you think needs to happen for decentralized exchanges to be the default entry point for users? Because the vast adoption of crypto we see will be via these centralized exchanges. So yeah, what do you think about that?
Well, let me go back to like 20 years ago. I want to start there. When people first, including my mother, by the way, who when she had a flip phone, and I
love those.
I know she had a smartphone, and I showed her my smartphone, and I said, "This is what you need to use because you can use your bank, you can do your banking on it and stuff like that." And she goes, "I will never need one of those." Well, today she does all her banking and everything else on her smartphone, and I think in order to achieve that, there's a couple of things that need to happen. It needs to be like an intuitive data interface, like a banking app that's very simple for everybody to use. The onboarding needs to be simplified. It needs to be very simple to get on board and get it up and running. And the last part, there needs to be clear education of across the board, like what we're doing now, bit by bit, so people understand what it's all about, how to onboard, and how that changes their life to be more simple. So I think that's very, very good. There's a few other areas like the security people. That's an education thing where people need to know more about whether the actual security is as good as what they have right now, transparency, audits, and I think once we achieve that through education and people using it in the real world, I think people will adopt it very quickly.
Yeah, that sounds great. I mean, it's just breaking down those barriers for just, like a consumer product at the end of the day. How do you reach people? How do you make it intelligible? So that makes a lot of sense.
And then there's one other
Yeah.
area where I think, as far as decentralized needs to come full force in, is some of the fees. It needs to be lower fees, improved liquidity, and interoperability. Some of those things need to be improved so they're as good as what people have right now, or better. It will be better.
Yeah, yeah. So they don't have to take a hit and make some sort of sacrifice. Totally agree. And over to you again, George. So firstly, just to clarify, do you use decentralized exchanges? Because that's kind of a prelude to my question.
Do I use? Yeah, of course. That's the best thing to
Because
use.
yeah, no, I'm just checking because otherwise my question wouldn't make sense. So I didn't want to presume anything, but I expect nothing less. But kind of on, building from what Sebastian has just been speaking about the usability, etc. Like, what was the biggest adjustment for you? Did you find if you did move from firstly using a centralized exchange to decentralized? And I'm asking this because I think a lot of our viewers might be people who use a centralized exchange, are interested in moving to a decentralized exchange, but are kind of cautious, like, Jesus, how do I go about this? So yeah, just as a user, like, what did you kind of experience?
All right. The shock. Okay. So, I mean, like basically self custody and gas fees. Like,
okay.
on a centralized exchange, it's like, click, boom, one and done, right? On a DEX, it's a different world. You're managing wallets, proving transactions. You're dealing with slippage, worrying about rug pulls. It's a lot of different aspects. That the learning curve was steep, but once I got it and understood it, I felt empowered. I was the bank.
Yeah.
I was the
You're
man.
the bank.
I was the man in charge. Yeah. The trade off is it's convenience for control, right? I don't want to give them control. I want the control. And once you get comfortable with the DEXs, you realize how much power and freedom you have outside the CX walled garden. So like it's all about control. Do I need the government to babysit me? No. Do I want to deal with fees and taking more time? No. I'm mature enough, old enough, smart enough. I learned it where I could do it myself and control it and get it done with a better experience.
Yeah, sounds good. And as Sebastian says, it's up to shows like ours to educate the public so that they can have that same experience. Okay, guys, it's the last mini segment of this educational section. So on to staking, yield farming, and NFTs. So I'm just going to kind of explain an overview of these terms and then ask you a couple of questions to expand upon it. So staking, what is staking? So that is when you lock up tokens to help secure a network and earn rewards. So that can be like Ethereum. It's kind of like earning interest, but you're also contributing to the blockchain's operations. And then we move on to yield farming. This goes a step further. This involves moving tokens across platforms to earn high returns, often by providing liquidity. So it's like staking on steroids, basically. It's more complex and it comes with more risk. And then there's NFTs. So as Sebastian mentioned as well, whilst most people think of digital art, this is my first experience of it as well. In the music industry, there were different people who then wanted to explore digital art, and I kind of just thought that was the only thing NFTs were. But what NFTs are is they're really just unique digital assets. So they can represent different things. They represent access, identity, game items, or digital rights. So if they're used creatively, they can unlock new business models. This can go into a variety of different business means. So membership passes, event tickets, creator royalties. So I guess, I mean, maybe let's just go into yield farming a bit more. Like, Lance, are you familiar with yield farming? Like, because I realized I didn't explain it in enough depth, probably for the audience.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that yield farming, we're going to see more of that, right? Because, of course, staking and what comes with that yield farming is you're looking for the highest rate of return. So people get an opportunity to stake, but and let me segue here a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
NFTs, my problem with NFTs in the beginning is as a guy that likes art and collects art, a guy that, feels like to buy and hold the art is half the enjoyment. I couldn't wrap my head around the JPEG digital asset NFT. The hype that went with that, I didn't buy into. I didn't see, we saw some excessive amounts of money. We saw some big auction houses, Sotheby's and others jumping on, and there was some tremendous numbers that came out. I couldn't see where a piece of art on a digital card or, living out in the blockchain could be as enjoyed as much as a piece of art that maybe you paid for that hung on your wall. The art industry is rife with, what I would consider scams sometimes anyway. There's some of the art you look at and you're thinking to yourself, how is it possible that this piece of art is worth this kind of money? It doesn't seem like it was very complicated to execute. And I think when I saw these NFTs, when I saw them go beyond that, when I saw them used for membership access and authentication, not just JPEGs, and I looked at a project that was tokenizing real estate as an example, and another one that was given token gated access to private health services. That's when it hit to me about NFTs. This isn't just about digital collectibles. For me, it's about a verifiable digital ownership, identity access, maybe a proof of rights. They're becoming the digital keys to everything from content to property. And as Sebastian said, I think there's some really, really important verticals in healthcare and especially in real estate. We've seen so much title fraud going on across the nation. There's lots of groups that have figured out how to defraud people out of paid off real estate. And I think that's where we're really going to start to see these NFTs come into their own. And of course, when it comes to yield, everybody's looking for higher rates of yield, and staking is an incredible opportunity. I mean, if you leave your money in the bank, you might get 2 or 3 percentage points, right? You might get some small amount. But if you go online and look at some of these websites that provide staking opportunities and yield services, you're looking at 10, 20%. Now, the only question is, and I'm going to flip this to Sebastian, my concern is transparency. When you give them these tokens, your stable coins or your XRP as an example, for them to stake, how do you know what it's being used for? And how do you know it's secure, that it hasn't been liquidated and you're going to go back to get your stable coins or your XRP and boom, it's gone. It's another crypto scam, which hurts the entire industry, in my opinion.
I think, yeah, that's why I originally said the security is very, very important here, and transparency. And I think, if you have something on an NFT, if it's immutable and transparent, and you know exactly what you're getting into, I think that will satisfy all these people who are sitting on the sideline right now. That's absolutely key to get into it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Hopefully I answered your question. I know I kind of segued around there.
No, I wanted to go into NFTs after, and that 100% did. And I'm very glad that you brought up this next step in terms of looking at NFTs through the lens of ownership, identity. And I do agree with you and think we'll see that and people learning more about that moving forward. But
I think the yield's being put back in the hand of the investors. These big organizations for the longest time have been scraping the majority of the yield for themselves. The rate of return they provided us on our capital has been very low. And then they've gone into the capital markets, whether it's to invest in a project or otherwise, and they've really made the majority of the money. And I think
Do
that's
you mean
where
in crypto or,
yeah, well,
or
no, not in crypto.
traditional?
Outside of
Traditional.
crypto, I think
Yeah.
the yields. What we're seeing in crypto is that the actual we're the people are taking advantage. They're getting an opportunity to participate in the yields that was only really left for the big groups, the big, the Morgan Stanleys, the Wells Fargos, all the big agencies that have been trading. So we're seeing this yield being brought back into the hands of the investors, which I think that can only be a win-win for the future.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And yeah, I guess it's fundamental to not the crypto project, but it all very much aligns. I'm glad you went into that. I think, unless George, you have any points on, specific yield strategies you're into, I think we might have to close out this piece.
Well, I got something.
Oh,
So, don't sleep on
Okay.
George. Well, listen, I said sleep, and it's funny I'm going to say that because, people actually sleep on staking in layer ones. They offer an ecosystem airdrops. What? Everybody wants high APY. But the real alpha is compounding rewards through governance, participation, ecosystem exposure. So you have with Stride Staked Atom or Stride Staked TIA, you stake, you earn, but you also become eligible for airdrops from new projects building on the network. That's 2 income streams,
that's pretty
plus
cool.
upside potential. So if you pair that with liquid staking and DeFi farming, you're in business, baby. You're here to make money.
Yeah,
Let's do
airdrops are a
that.
big part of it. You have to take advantage. Those airdrops are out there. So for even people that have limited revenue, they can stake some of these companies and get a bunch of airdrops, or they can just look for the airdrops otherwise. I think that's sometime we'll dedicate to the show, but there's an opportunity for people to get involved. And some of those airdrops have become extremely valuable. You get an airdrop and you think it's nothing and it's sitting in your wallet or one of your wallets, and you go back and look and it actually has value. And that's happened to me more than once. So I think that's something you really have to become educated about. Maybe the next episode we'll talk about airdrops. I think it's great, though. I think this is a great topic you brought up here, Antonia.
Yeah, well, no, thank you, and thank you, George. Let's go into that. I want to learn more about it as well. So that's perfect. That's why we love the education segment. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of it from this piece. Hopefully, you guys in the audience, viewers, have a bit of a better sense of how value actually moves in crypto, how tokens are designed, how people trade, and how different models like staking and NFTs expand the possibilities. So, as always, drop anything in the comments you want us to look into.
Yeah.
We'll gladly do that. And yeah,
We want your feedback because it's important for us to know where to take the show next. Of course, if you like the show, the most important thing to do is to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, comment on it. Let us know what kind of interviews you want to see in the future. We're working on a lot of interviews from some great companies and projects around the country. So that'll be coming on board. We're going to take a short break. Crypto Power Hour will be right back. The #1 crypto show on Rumble. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Stay tuned because we got a lot to cover today. Lots of big stuff about XRP, lots of news on other projects. Dude, you don't want to miss one word of this. We'll be right back.
As an American who keeps up with the real news, you know by now the severity of the economic issues that are plaguing our great nation. My name is Jonathan Rose, and I'm the CEO of Genesis Gold Group, the only major faith-driven company in the industry. 2024 is a year full of uncertainties, with trillions of dollars in national debt, inflation impacting your savings, and a pivotal election year. Your peace of mind is more valuable than ever. Now is the time to use physical gold and silver to preserve your hard-earned retirement savings with a gold IRA. Call Genesis Gold Group today. Our team has decades of experience helping folks just like you take their first step on the path to true financial freedom with a gold and silver IRA.
Call Genesis Gold Group today at 1-800-200-GOLD for a no-commitment, informative consultation with one of our experts to find out if we can be a fit for you. Call now at 1-800-200-4653 or visit genesisgoldgroup.com.
In a world of uncertainty, be prepared with Silver Prepper Bars, your ultimate hedge against political instability and economic turmoil. Introducing the Silver Prepper Bar, crafted from 0.999 pure silver and proudly made in the USA. This tangible, divisible asset can come in handy even in the toughest of times. Portable, perforated, and easily tradable, the Silver Prepper Bar is your lifeline in times of crisis. When facing inflation, currency devaluation, and financial meltdown, Silver Prepper Bars provide peace of mind. Don't wait for disaster to strike. Secure your future today with the exclusive Silver Prepper Bar, the only silver bar on the market divisible into 3 different size pieces for maximum utility, all while fitting in your wallet. The smart choice for savvy investors and preppers alike. With Silver Prepper Bars, you're ready for whatever tomorrow brings. Hi folks, I'm here today to introduce you to the Prepper Bar from PrepperBar.com, the most unique precious metals product we have seen in a long time. These 62-gram bars are perforated and easily broken down into your choice of 3 different sizes to fit a multitude of needs. Whether it be from asset protection from inflation, economic turmoil, or its unique utility for barter and trade, the Prepper Bar makes a perfect gift for all the precious metal lovers out there. Exclusively made here in the USA and selling out fast. Available in both gold and silver, these slim Prepper Bars fit neatly in your wallet, and their utility enables use in any situation. As gold and silver prices continue to surge, and top economists predict upcoming shortages, now is the time to secure your precious metals in the form of Prepper Bars. Go to PrepperBar.com now and place your order before supply runs out and prices go up. All payment methods accepted. Order your Silver Prepper Bars now at PrepperBar.com. Silver Prepper Bars, ready for whatever tomorrow brings. Order now.
All right, welcome back to the Crypto Power Hour, powered by Solum Global, with your hosts, Lance Migliaccio, George Balloutine, Antonio Mas, and new to the show today, Sebastian Cyril Watts. We got 2 Brits, 2 Americans. We're going at it here. Big things are happening.
George, every time you do the intro, I always think that Antonia should give us the Queen's wave. I don't know why I think that. Why do I feel like she should give us the Queen's wave,
Wait a minute.
George?
Does
Or
Sebastian...
the King's Wave.
I was just going to say, does Sebastian have to give us the King's wave?
Yeah, exactly. All right.
All
right, so-
a cup.
Yeah, cup.
No,
like
but I think
this.
don't you have to cup the hand when you do the Queen's
Like
wave? Don't you
this.
have a small cup? Yes, exactly.
Antonia's got that down.
You got it down, exactly.
That's
All
why
right,
she's.
go ahead,
That's
George, I didn't
why.
mean to step
That's
on
why I
you.
coined her Crypto Queen. Well, that's all right. You know, listen, Crypto Queen or Ripple's $1 billion power play. What are they doing? They're acquiring Hidden Road and historic $1.25 billion deal. What happens? Crypto just got a new kingmaker. We're just speaking about kings and queens too, huh? You guys are out. Ripple's in. So, listen, this is a historic market shaking move. You know, they announced this acquisition. It's a premier prime brokerage firm, and the money, $1.25 billion. This is the first ever mega merger of its kind in the crypto fintech hybrid space. I don't know. This is just not a buyout, folks. This is a global class move, class act for Ripple, XRP. Lance, I know you got
What
something
I said.
good.
I've said this. We were talking backstage just so, Sebastian had been around some Bitcoin maxis, and I was trying to explain that you can't really look at this world of just saying, oh, it's only Bitcoin. It's only Bitcoin. At the end of the day, I understand that Bitcoin has a position within the blockchain world currently. But I think diversification is a safety net. And with this deal, you have to look at the fact that Ripple just became the new central node in the digital asset infrastructure web. They're sending a big message, in my opinion. This is what it translates to Wall Street and Washington. They're not just playing in the sandbox, they're building the castles. And I've said this over and over again, and this isn't financial advice on the show. This is education on the show. Talk to your financial advisors. But my financial advisors and myself and George, we're always doubling down. We bought XRP in the dip. And if XRP dips again, I'm going to keep buying and buying and buying right up to the point that it stops dipping. Because I truly believe that what these guys have done has created something that's so unique. And this is a mega merger. And the question everybody's going to ask, and Sebastian and Antonio, I'll let you go. Antonio, you go first, and then Sebastian. You know, the question is, why did Ripple pay $1.25 billion? I know why. Can you explain that to the audience?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Lance, and definitely back you up in always promoting that Ripple is this next step, which I back that it will really take over or at least have a big dominance in the space. I think they're really aiming to build this next financial backbone. So this acquisition, a big acquisition of Hidden Road, it gives them direct access to institutional trading infrastructure. So that's a huge step beyond just moving money, and it shows that they want to control more of the financial stack. So liquidity, custody, settlement, they're all in one place. It's coming after they they won their battle with the SEC. They've launched RLUSD, and they're really not only just entering and being in the stablecoin race, but I think they're really winning. So they've got utility, compliance, and with these global plays, I think they're really laying the framework to just be the dominant player here.
Well, listen, Hidden Road's been operating for a while, Sebastian. They've really been what I would consider the citadel of crypto, minus the headlines. They have quietly become what I would consider Wall Street's favorite backdoor into digital assets. They offered prime brokerage services, credit intermediation, multi-asset market access to hedge funds, family offices, proprietary trading funding. So, my opinion is that when Ripple gained immediate access to a global client network, we know that they've got those 3,300 contracts that have never been announced, that were under NDA in the SEC lawsuit. And as that's wrapping up, at some point that information is going to start to go public. But those were with countries and institutions. Now, by acquiring, this investment into Hidden Road, I can't imagine the global network of clients that that they get access to through existing licensing frameworks and deep liquidity rails and institutional trust. To me, this is like this is an epiphany moment in the crypto world, and I think a lot of people don't fully understand it because a lot of people never heard of Hidden Road. They didn't even know what they were up to.
I totally. You said the one word, trust, and I think this brings a lot of confidence to the wider population and the street, and I think the adoption will go up more, and I think the total confidence in what they're doing here, all the transparency that surrounds it. I think what we're going to be seeing going forward is more of this, and the more confidence we can build into the system, the more adoption we'll get.
Yeah. And I think simplicity and trust and transparency are the key words to grow this vertical. And of course, education. And if you guys like the show, thumbs up, comment, share, subscribe. That's how you let us know. Put some numbers in the some information. Don't forget to go over to social media and talk in the chat. Let us know what else you want to see. But definitely head over to social media on X, True Social, Getter. Join the Crypto Power Hour social media. You can find Antonio Moss over there. You can find Sebastian over there, myself and George. Check it out and join us. But let's not forget that XRP just came out. They survived and outmaneuvered the SEC and that weasel, Gary Gensler. They came out leaner and meaner. They're fully compliant. Their transparency's in place. And now you've got, and again, this is a shout out to you guys. London Road has its London regulated structure and cross-border flexibility. I think it gives Ripple a regulatory passport into Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. And I think this plants Ripple squarely in the middle of the deregulated DeFi future and likely puts them years ahead of Coinbase, even Circle with their recent news, and even JP Morgan's Onyx platform. You guys can quote me on that. If you think you disagree with me, feel free to share your thoughts. But I think you got to take, so George, this change, I think this is everything, right?
Listen, it is everything. This deal is a signal to the market, right? Ripple is not just alive and thriving, but they're the next evolution of the crypto economy. Will be institutionally driven, deeply integrated, and liquidity first. And Sebastian is talking about trust and transparency. I just want to mention that one of the core values of Solon Global is transparency, and that is very big with people because when you have nothing to hide, you're not doing anything wrong, and you show it to the people. And this is like Solon Global, XRP. This is what they're doing. So you have to put that in a big perspective. It's going to be like a domino effect, Lance. You just said, look, Coinbase has to rush up. Traditional players, you just said it. BNY Mellon, Goldman.
They're going to have to lock up a brokerage fast if they're even going to compete with this. And that's the problem, right? I think I think in my opinion, I'll go out on a limb. And I'm going to make this statement. Make sure you mark this one. I think Ripple's just too connected to fail at this point.
Listen, it's a declaration of dominance, man.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're designing it. I think they're bringing it. And at the end of the day, I think what's important is you have to think about what positioning they're taking. Antonio, I think Ripple is positioning itself as the JP Morgan of crypto. You heard it here first on the show. I am calling Ripple the JP Morgan of crypto. Or I'm going to go out on a limb even further. Are they building something even bigger than JP Morgan? Oh, Sebastian, did that make you twinge at all? What do you think, Antonio?
Oh, that's a tricky one for me. I think what you mentioned, right? Firstly, opinion-based, they feel like a safe pair of hands through all of these different actions, controlling different elements of the vertical, having real utility, use value, that they seem like the trusted group to pave this new wave of finance. And JP Morgan, okay, it's a global industry, sorry, not global industry, global company. But as you mentioned, Lance, through this acquisition, Ripple immediately is embedded in these markets in just global markets. So it's really got that head start. And I think through doing that, it's leapfrogged everyone else. So I would be inclined to agree with you, although not shading JP.
Yeah, I hear you don't want to throw shade, but I'm a shade thrower. I do it every day on our shows. George knows if there's shade to throw, I'll shade it. I'm not a hater. I never hate the players. I hate the game. But at the end of the day, JP Morgan may be old school. JP Morgan may be old school. And I think right now, Ripple and XRP are new school. And Sebastian, this one's for you. With Ripple now controlling settlement, liquidity, and brokerage access, is there any competitor left that can keep up with this announcement or this company?
I'm not sure on that one. I mean, it's the circle. I think there will be new players that come in because I think we don't want Ripple to be too big to fail. They start getting the whole market. That is, I think, going to be an issue. So what I would hope for the future is there are going to be other players, such as in the banking industry currently. There are major players there, and it's not just one, although JP Morgan is a very large one. And competition is healthy.
Well, listen, let me add to this. So you have JP Morgan. There's other banks. There's smaller banks. There's bigger banks. All right. So then we have XRP. There's the smaller ones and little ones. Doesn't matter. This is Ripple's empire era, baby. Buckle up. It's going to get heavy. It's going to be a big road to go down.
My guess is haters are going to hate. I think XRP is becoming Godzilla, and they're in that little Japanese town, and they're now starting to crush everybody. I see it. Nobody's notified it yet. Mainstream media is ignoring it. And of course, people are still out there going, oh, XRP is going to fail. Most of those are the Bitcoin maxis. I don't have much to say to them because, again, I'm not hating on Bitcoin. I think diversification and the strategic reserve diversification in your own portfolio, that's your safety net. But George, I got to ask you, could this deal push XRP into mainstream utility, or do you think it's just a kind of a headline grabbing, corporate power grab style event?
No, this is gonna mainstream them, man. This is taking them to the next level. Listen, you have the first time you have a crypto native company that has pulled off what legacy giants couldn't. They're bridging compliance, liquidity, and its speed at scale. They're at the forefront. Other companies are going to be playing catch up. So, this is here to stay, and it's real.
And sorry.
Go ahead, Antonio, please. This is all about.
It's just like the leapfrogging point, right? Like all of these legacy incredible companies are bound by very stringent compliance rules, and things are slow. Even if you've got the smartest people, trying to be like as efficient, different mechanisms as possible, all of these disparate parts have to work together. So I really think that, people and companies who can work in an agile way are really going to speed up this race. And hopefully, as Sebastian says, we might see new players enter. I hope so for competition purposes too. And that will hopefully be quicker over time. But I do think these legacy companies will lag purely by their infrastructure.
And you've made a good point there with the fact that they're able to move forward so quickly is because we're about to get regulation in place, which is like hopefully it acts as a guardrail rather than like we're seeing in the financial industry, which is very, very difficult and very stringent. So
The SEC, I think, over-regulated. What we don't want to see is over-regulation, because of course that destroys the true decentralized network kind of a feel. But I think Trump's pulling the cards out right now. He just pulled the plug on the DOJ's crypto enforcement team. He disbanded it. Now that's a big deal. Gensler was using that. It was weaponized. He used it against a lot of teams that were out there. XRP took the big brunt of it. Now they've actually established kind of a baseline for, the potential for it's not a security. We know that's the ruling that came straight out of there. It's going to help other crypto companies. But the Trump administration shutting down the crypto enforcement team, George, this is, in my opinion, a really sudden, a strategic shift. I think there's a lot of reasons they shut it down. I think it was, a lot of it was Biden appointed, which always concerns me. The sniffer and chief installed like a dirty toilet. I don't think anything he did could be trusted. I'd like to see everything overturned. But this is a bombshell move, don't you think?
I think it is a bombshell move. Like, listen, the less regulation, the better. We want decentralized. I'm not so sure I'm liking, the SEC putting any regulations in. We'll see how that works. But my thing is, if you let them in a little, depending on who's running the show, they want a lot. I mean, look what Biden did. This is a reason Trump's doing it. This was Biden's broader crypto crackdown. And look what happened.
To close the bathroom door, you don't want to let the stink get out when it comes to the SEC. And I think if you crack that door, they'll squeeze their way through. I don't like what they did to begin with. I think they cost XRP investors billions of dollars. I'd still like to see a class action in that. I don't know if it'll happen. But at the end of the day, there was a lot of harm that was caused by the SEC. The U.S. had to take a step back. They got held back from being the dominant crypto provider. Of course, making crypto great once and for all for the United States is a big part of this administration's agenda.
Lance, I gotta say something, because I know we talked about this. You always brought up this class action, and I'm way against it. I'm going to tell you why. You do a class action, who's going to end up paying it? Taxpayers, which is us right here, right? Number one. Number two, class action, you get minimal payment, but who gets all the money? The lawyers.
Yeah.
Put it aside.
I can't let go of it. I'm taking that to the grave.
No.
Taking it to the grave. At the end of the day, I think when an agency overstates or over operates on their charter and they use malfeasance, misfeasance, and nonfeasance of a government official or a government institution, I think they have to be brought into compliance. And the truth of the matter is the only way to do that is accountability and consequences. And without those, you're going to continue to have rogue agencies. Let's face it.
We can have accountability and consequences, but not money.
Here's at the end of the day, accountability and consequences have to happen, and sometimes it takes money to get relief for the harm. So
but it's not their money; it's the taxpayers' money anyway.
We'll just have to agree to disagree on this one. I'm taking that one to the grave, because there's one thing I don't like is the over-regulation of government agencies going way beyond their charters or the laws of these United States.
I just came up with an idea,
and I'm unwavering about it.
I just came out. They could pay us with some of the Bitcoin reserve they have.
Okay, I'll take. You know what? How about some of the gold at $60 an ounce? We still haven't seen the Fort Knox audit. I'd like to see that happen, but they seem to not be talking about that anymore, which has me more concerned than ever. The crypto strategic reserve, they've been seizing lots of Bitcoin and lots of their assets. Yeah, what the heck? You take whatever. At the end of the day, some kind of relief would be great.
Sebastian, you want some Bitcoin? Antonia?
Yeah, why not?
Free Bitcoin?
I'll take a sprinkle.
Yeah,
a sprinkle. Oh, will you?
Can we have some Bitcoin, please? Some Bitcoin.
Can we have a sprinkle of Bitcoin over here at the Crypto Power Hour? Deregulation, strategic alignment. I think it's all about a rollback. It's a message. It's an incentive. I see that's what's going on. I love that he's gotten rid of this, and I think this is the future of where we're going. Antonia, do you think this shutdown of the DOJ's crypto task force, is it a green light for innovation, or is it going to be a free pass for all the bad actors, the rug pullers, maybe even Lazarus groups straight out of North Korea?
I'm going with an orange light. I think. I don't know. I mean, it definitely sends a message, right? But whether it's a green light for innovation or a free pass for bad actors really depends on the next steps, like what actually comes next. I agree with you, Lance. Over regulation, people overreaching, that is not good. And it could ease the climate of regulation by enforcement that's really been hanging over the industry. It could give legitimate builders more breathing room. And that would be really great for innovation. But I do want to be annoying and say we have to be a bit cautious because there is a real risk that scams, fraud, some illicit things that people, the negatives that people hear about crypto that freaks them out could potentially, I don't think they will, but people might think without this task force that it's more open to develop the kind of dodgy side, which could hurt trust is what I'm trying to get to.
No, I think you're right. I think that's a fair
Yeah, so
statement.
I guess I'm having a nuanced amber view. I would like to see it be replaced with something that people respect, so that people still trust the system and trust the industry as a whole. Otherwise, we risk kind of throwing one thing in the bin for something too far the other way.
I agree with you, Sebastian. I think this is a win for crypto in the short term, but who loses? Is it just the Biden era regulators, maybe the legacy banks, or is it just political clout being lost? Where do you think really, what are your thoughts here?
Well, I think going forward, I mean, it decentralizes by virtue of what it is. It puts the power back into the individual. So that's the first thing. What they do with it as an individual, you have to have security, which is, absolutely first rate and better than Web 2. You have to have transparency. And I believe, the fraud part of it, I think there will be, because of those things, I think there will be less fraud, but there will still be those bad actors in play, and they'll have to deal with it. But I think the platform lends itself better to deal with fraud, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
there's no doubt. And I think regulation, it's always important to have an enforcement arm. There's got to be a bite in the dog. It can't just be a dog barking. So I think that is important. But I think, as you pointed out, Antonio, it's got to be an enforcement arm that we trust, that we recognize are doing the right thing, and they're going to continue to do the right thing. And so far, our federal government has not put that foot forward. Between the SEC, the FBI, the DOJ, and many others, I think they've made mistakes going forward and actually caused more harm than good, especially as far as the U.S.'s position in the crypto world. We've allowed lots of countries, even, like Saudi Arabia as an example, to get a real foothold where we should have been the number one crypto location in the world. And instead, we kind of got put backwards. So we'll have to see how it go. There's a big story. We've been talking about XRP a lot. I don't want to sound like we're only about XRP, but it seems like the news cycle today was predominantly XRP. And I think it's pronounced Teucrium. I'm not sure if I have that right, but hopefully I do. Teucrium. They just launched the first ever XRP ETF, and it's a 2 times leverage bombshell. This is a move that's got the entire crypto sector, literally the sector's doubling. They're doing double takes on this. Nobody expected this. They just officially launched. They're trading under the ticker XXRP. It's designed to give investors 2 times the daily performance of XRP, which that's just wow. Meaning if XRP jumps 5%, you pocket 10%. I don't even know of an ETF in the regular market, whether it's through any of the big legacy trading houses, that offers this kind of a return. But if it tanks, you feel that too, big time. You get double the tank. So it's double the whammy, double the win. Nobody on Wall Street saw this coming. It's a leveraged crypto ETF before a spot ETF, which is kind of amazing in itself. I didn't see this coming. George, what do you think, man? This is kind of a crazy offering here.
Yeah, it is. I mean, listen, there's no risk, no reward. You can make double the profit, or you double the tank it. I mean, it is what it is, but it's, from my understanding, if I say this correctly too, to Ethereum, they're not just holding XRP in volts. They're using like financial derivatives to mirror XRP's moves. And this is like on steroids, we call it. So that means like it's a massive potential upside and massive potential volatility. So if you're into the risk, why not? But me personally, I like just XRP. I like steady,
Yeah.
good security. I'll leave it like that.
I think we're going to see more and more of these derivatives. I think it's historic. Of course, this is the first XRP ETF, which makes it huge in itself. And I think what this means for crypto is that XRP just made, that it just became Wall Street tradable. And that's a major leap in legitimacy, I think, and accessibility in that in the XRP market. But it's big risk, big signal, big shift, all of the above. Antonio, what does it say about the SEC and the markets when a leveraged XRP ETF could launch before a spot ETF even gets approved? It's really interesting.
It feels weird, right? Because it's just the wrong way around. It's like it's running before walking. I think it shows, the time lag in the SEC. But look, a lot of people are investing in crypto because they want that like volatile upside, and they'll take a big downside too. So this is just, as George said, and we say, putting it on steroids. But it does seem a little bit like the logic doesn't really seem there, and it just reinforces that the SEC is pretty slow, that something like this can leapfrog it.
Yeah, I think it's a big one. The question is, Sebastian, what do you think? Who's this product really for? I wonder, is it for a serious investor? Is it for gamblers? Or is it just the institutionals, maybe dipping their toe in the water, kind of testing the marketplace to find out how far they can push the bar?
Well, I mean, my gut reaction here is it's for the more sophisticated investor. It's the same as having some leverage on a stock or on margin. You have to know what you're getting into. So it's not for somebody dipping their toe in. It's somebody who's more sophisticated.
Yeah.
But
and I think
Lance, I want to just add. I want to add something to what Sebastian is saying. Well, like any crypto, just to make it actually easier to understand. If you look at the stock market and a stock is trading at $200 a share, you have to spend $200 to buy one share. With crypto, if you have $10, if crypto is trading at $100, or let's take Bitcoin's trading at 80,000, and you only want to buy $200 of Bitcoin, you could do that. That's the difference with crypto and stock markets.
Yeah.
So this XR, it's for anybody. Anybody that wants to get into it, it's there. Is it a testing ground? We'll see. Time will tell, but anybody can get into it. You want to gamble? Gamble. You don't? You want to be safe? You can be safe, but anybody can get into it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to open the door for a lot more investors to get involved. I think this is just the very first ETF we're going to see. I don't think we're going to see more of them, in my opinion. And I believe that we're going to, head into more opportunity, more, potential for generational wealth, of course. I think it's a real potential here for the future. So we'll have to see where that goes. George, I'm not sure how much time we've got left.
Got like a minute if you want, 2 minutes.
Well, here's the thing. Let me just say this to you. Of course, if you're joining the show for the first time, thank you for coming. Hopefully you figured out now why the Crypto Power Hour is the #1 show in the crypto vertical on Rumble. We're going to continue to grow. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, the like button, the comment button. If you like the show, you can always go over to Chris Pavlovski's account on X. Go in there and tell them how much you love the Crypto Power Hour show. Anything you do, tell your friends and family members. We're going to continue to grow, and we're going to start bringing on, people that are operating new projects and great projects all around the country for interviews. So this is going to be more exciting, more information, more education from Antonia and others. And of course, you'll be here with George Balloutine, Lance Migliaccio, Sebastian Cyril Watts, and Antonia Moss. We'll be bringing it to you, and of course, we'll have other times when other guests to join us. So stay always frosty when it comes to the crypto world, because in crypto we trust. You don't want to miss out on generational wealth, and this is the place to find out about it before everybody else, because we will throw some shade. We will throw our reputations on the line. We're willing to take the heat because that's what we do here on the Crypto Power.
Well, that's what Americans do. I don't know about Brits, but us Americans.
I don't know, Sebastian, don't throw us under the bus here.
And if you want to tip us with a sprinkle of, if you'd like to tip us with a sprinkle of Bitcoin, please do.
Bitcoin.
We'll catch you guys. You guys have a blessed day. We'll see you Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern for next show.